What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/EntitledParents. This story is called Entitled Aunt and My Migraine, a Christmas Story. This story happened just over 20 years ago and only came to mind over the holidays as me and the cousins reminisced about those we remembered fondly and those that are no longer welcome. Here's the cast. There's me, Magnetic Enchilada, Entitled Aunt, Dad, aka Father, Sir, Boss, Mom, aka the family matriarch, Good Uncle, Mother's brother, Entitled Aunt's husband. This was Christmas Day in the late 1990s, back when my parents crammed nearly 20 people into their home for what passed as an annual family reunion. The cousins would often occupy themselves in the living room with whatever goodies they got, while the adults hung out on the back porch because this was North Carolina in December, and some family still comes up from Florida. At around 3 p.m., the television hurt to even look at, and the light coming through the windows seemed to pierce the very depths of my brain. Yup, I knew what was coming. Went to my parents, excused myself, and went up to my room. Without Entitled Aunt, this story would have just been how the migraine stole Christmas. For context, I was once tormented by rather horrendous cluster migraines that would take me out once or twice a month. For the unaware, these are chronic headaches categorized by severe pain, most often behind the eyes, that becomes worse over time and in most cases are even made worse by bright light. No amount of Tylenol or Excedrin ever worked on me because F you! And the only real cure was to avoid lights and try to pass out. For this reason, my parents had my bedroom windows equipped with some damn good blackout blinds. I blacked out the room and laid down with an ice pack on my forehead. Sleep did not happen. At around 4 p.m., Entitled Aunt makes the executive decision that we need to take another family picture because the cousins all got new leather jackets from GU, and apparently my attendance was mandatory. I won't pretend to know exactly what was said between them, but my parents explained that I was in pain and probably wouldn't even want to stand upright for the next several hours. Entitled Aunt knew about my migraines, but decided that this was unacceptable because she needed more pictures for her photo albums. Entitled Aunt throws open my door and turns on the lights, which might as well have been an uppercut to my mind, and started shouting at me in this condescending tone to get dressed and get downstairs. I groaned at her to kill the lights, that I couldn't even see with them on. Entitled Aunt demanded that I suck it up and stop avoiding the family, not quite accusing me of faking my pain, but seeming to think I should just ignore the pain splitting my skull in two. At that point, even attempting to shout back would have only made the pain worse. Getting up was not an option. Thankfully, Dad was right behind her and immediately flipped off the lights. Dad shouted at Entitled Aunt that this was a migraine and the lights were only making it worse. Dad urged her to go back downstairs and leave me alone. You'd think that her husband's sister's husband shouting at her to leave his son alone would be enough, but this is Electronic Arts. This was the same woman that believed in reincarnation and was adamant that she had been royalty in a past life. Yeah, Entitled Aunt believed this in her heart of hearts and behaved like she could never be wrong. Around 20 minutes and who knows how much arguing later, Entitled Aunt burst back into my room and flipped on the lights again, shouting for the whole family to hear how I needed to get up and be a part of the family. Mom and Dad are right behind her, looking appalled and furious respectively, while Good Uncle just looked exhausted. Entitled Aunt practically tossed a bottle of aspirin at me and shouted at me some more to stop being melodramatic. Mom responded by flipping off the lights and practically guarding the switch while screaming at her to get out of her house. Good Uncle stood with his sister pleading for Entitled Aunt to just stop. Entitled Aunt just kept on lecturing until Dad had had enough and moved to pull her out of the room. Determined to win whatever she thought this was, Entitled Aunt grabbed the curtains with both hands and ripped them off the wall, flooding the room with crisp winter sunshine that sent me over the edge from miserable pain to puking pain. I vividly remember Good Uncle shouting, "What the fornication under consent of the king is wrong with you?" at Entitled Aunt as I stumbled past him and into the bathroom. Dad was beyond furious at this point, and in her unfathomable stupidity, Entitled Aunt thought pointing out how quickly I had jumped up to puke was hilarious. Dad responded by punching her like she was a man, splitting her lip and knocking her to the ground. Mom and good uncle were shocked, but Dad did not regret or relent, pulling her to her feet and roaring at her to get the F out of his house. Entitled aunts, good uncle, and their cousins were packed up and out of there within minutes. I thought I had witnessed the peak of his anger over all the times I had screwed up hard. What I heard from the bathroom that night taught me otherwise. There were no calls to the police or anything like that. Dad was very disappointed with himself, but refused to apologize and was much more upset that he had so thoroughly scared his nieces and nephews. Good uncle was pissed at Dad, but refused to condemn how he had reacted. Entitled aunt never spoke to me or my parents again, beyond inane expected pleasantries, and ceased to be my aunt within the next 3 years anyways. Good uncle has since remarried and has never been happier. You'd think he was 10 years younger. Entitled aunt is still around, but has seemingly disappeared. I haven't spoken to her in over half my life, and her own children are surprised when she bothers to reach out or respond to calls. Kinda ironic that the same woman who went off the deep end over family photos couldn't bother to be involved once her own children had families of their own. Ironic and rather sad. Edit, migraine status. I appreciate the concern from all those wondering, but my migraines had become much more tolerable around high school, regressing from 1 or 2 every month to 6 or 7 every year. I just sorta lived with them into my late 20s until my boss insisted that I speak with a neurologist who did a workup on me and prescribed me sumatriptan. This stuff is a miracle drug that comes in these single-use nasal sprays, and one will kill a migraine within 20 to 30 minutes. Not going to a specialist sooner has become one of the great regrets in my life. If you suffer migraines, speak with a neurologist. Odds are something on the market will work wonders. Okay, first off, old girlfriend of mine had chronic cluster headaches. She had one every single day almost, and it got crazy. She was prescribed sumatriptan and it worked very well for her, but I guess she developed a tolerance or something to it, because it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, this girl's been to so many appointments, had MRIs, CAT scans, all that crap. Sumatriptan doesn't work, and now she has to get Botox treatments. And, so yeah, it's crazy. They literally couldn't find anything at all wrong with her, like at all. No matter how many times they tried anything, nothing was found. But yeah, she's got Botox now, and she has to get treatments every once in a while. But regarding the story, holy poon nuggets. Like, this just gradually got more and more crazy. The first, the aunt obviously just being a big ol' ninny, whatever that means. And then the dad punched her in the face? I'm not sure how I feel about that, but you know what? He stuck up for his kid, and she was obviously being horrible to him, or her. I don't know if this is a dude or a chick. Actually, you know what? No, punching her was a bit too far. He could have just, grabbed her and just like pushed her out of the room. Could have done any number of things, but what do you guys think? Was the face punch justified? This story's called, I Lost My 2 Years Worth of Work Because of a Zero IQ Entitled Mother. Backstory. Since my childhood, I always wanted to be a game maker. I started my first game at the end of 2017 or the start of 2018. It is a kinda Souls-like game in 2D, just like Dead Cells. Holy crap, that's an amazing game, by the way. My inspiration. It is hard to make a video game by yourself and also keep your high school grades good. My summers went to my creation, and I stored it in my flash disk. That was a bad idea. My plan was to publish it in 2022 or 2023. Well, until our lovely entitled mother came. It happened 3 days ago, but I am still boiling mad. I went out to visit my best friend with my flash disk in my backpack to show my progress. He is our voice for the tutorial NPC, so we really want to see how it is going. I went there, everything is normal. Surprise, surprise, no one is here for now except us. We shared our thoughts about the enemy attack patterns. I mostly denied his thoughts because he went full overpowered anime heroes mode. Strict anime fan. We got hungry, so we went to KFC to order some chicken. I don't want to leave my flash alone, so I grabbed it too. Bad choice. We went there, ordered food. While waiting, I took my flash disk and started talking about if I should change my flash to something that has much more capacity. Then a demon screamed close to my ear. Here comes our everybody stupid except me, Karen. Here's the cast. Me, Dovahkiin himself, friend. Tutorial NPC.
Karen, who is also a mother to a nice boy.
Manager. Nice employee.
Nice kid.
Police officer.
You, bench! Why are you bringing drugs to a fast food restaurant, you drug-addicted catamites?
Me, who got confused about what happened. Friend with a disgusted face plus a surprised Pikachu face, aka a weird shocked expression I can't tell. Too nice employee.
Why are you letting peoples like this to this frickin' place? I'm gonna sue all of you!
Yes, she said that. Karen, to me.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself? I bet your mom left you, cause you're a drug addict, you son of a bangtail!
I am a very straightforward person. If someone pisses me off, congratulations, you screwed yourself. If it is about my friends, relatives, or parents, congratulations, you screwed yourself really hard. Me, a bit pissed off, trying to hold my anger in. How can you assume that I am a drug addict? So far, I can only see a screaming demon. Friend sees my pissed off meter. Don't try to bother us. We are only here for chicken, not to listen to some stupid lady. Karen, please stop harassing these two boys. You got all the attention already.
What kind of store are you? You're defending flagitating drug addicts!
She grabs my flash.
You should thank me for what I'm gonna do with this needle.
Yes, she thought a flash disc was a needle. God, how did these kinds of people survive all this long? Me plus friend? That's not a drug nor a needle. That's my / friend's work. Pissed off meter is going up.
Don't you lie to me, you stupid 80th Thermancies! I'm gonna do a big favor with this!
She throws it onto the ground and stomps on it with her heels. Karen might be thinking,
why do I hear multiple boss musics?
Me and friend, who are both very angry. Manager might be thinking, why the hell is there something broken on the ground? Two pissed off teenagers, one screaming woman, and one employee that looks too disgusted that he doesn't function. He sees all that in the entrance of the building. I think he went back from somewhere. Okay, I got one question for you. How stupid are you to think that my flash disc is a drug? In a calm but want to kill her inside about to explode voice. Her skin, white as frosty. I think she is surprised to find electronic parts inside of a drug needle.
Where are your drugs? Quick, tell me, I know you got drugs somewhere. Don't try to fool me, you bigot!
Alright then, I think you are dumb enough to even not understand my question. Let me tell you about your actions' consequences. You freaking destroyed my work! My dream! My freaking effort!
And you are still trying to find drugs on me?
Well, good luck, cause you are not gonna find anything on me, nor my friend! I signaled to my friend to call the police. Friend nodded and went outside to call the police. Nice employee is still in shock.
Lady, if you will not leave here, I'm gonna kick you out. Why are you kicking me out? You should kick him out!
No. This is not your problem, entitled mother. Manager, I am sorry to bother you, but she is not worth the trouble. You can't teach an old psychopath dog any new tricks.
How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am?
I know who you are. You are a psychopath that destroyed my freaking flash disc! Lady, please leave or I will call the police. Don't try it. I already called them.
That is a big mistake, you cooter! You are all going to jail!
Just as a reminder, points to security camera, are you really sure who's going to jail? Karen's skin is white as flour again, and the boy enters the show.
Mommy, where's our meal? Baby, I forgot the meal. We need to get out of here. We can eat a meal at a different location.
Where do you think you're going?
Stay away from me, you piece of sushi! I am taking my son and headed out!
I and the manager stopped the lady. Police sirens heard. Let the fun begin. What is the situation here? You want to check out the cameras, officer? It's a long story.
Officer, these drug-addicted people tried to violate me. Please do something.
How does a person think this will work out? Wait a second. Oh yeah, these are entitled parents. Let me check the cameras. Karen with a much lower voice.
No, you don't need to, officer. Just arrest these benches and save me and my son's time.
Police officer goes to check the cameras with the manager, while me, my friend, and the other officer secure the Karen and her nice kid who was embarrassed as frick. Police officer and manager head out, arrest the Karen, asked if we wanted to press charges. I immediately said yes. Happy ending with the loss of my work. I might be forgetting something, but for now, that's all I remember. Thanks for sharing this experience with me. Edit 1. To let some repeated questions be answered. 1. I only got Google Drive by that time, so instead, I did not try to find some online storage. I said, what could possibly go wrong? Here we are with the work I lost. 2. This happened 3 days ago when I wrote this post, so the leftover of the flash disk possibly in trash. 3. If you have questions about the game, I can post to summarize what I did do and what is my plan. Good evening, guys! First of all, Butterino, I am super interested and I really want to check it out because, in case you don't know, Dead Cells is a really good game. It's kind of a Metroidvania, but not like a pure one. You can definitely see that the devs were indeed inspired by, Metroid and Castlevania. And it's also a roguelite game, so it's really good. But anyways, regarding this story, wow, that would absolutely suck to put that much work in a game and then have, oh man, that poor guy. So first off, I'm on mobile. Now some backstory. My parents had a very ugly divorce, and my mother got full custody of my sister and apparently didn't want me because she didn't even bring me up in court. So I'm with my dad now. Since my parents got a prenup, my dad kept all of his money. We live in a pretty wealthy neighborhood. We're probably the poorest there. Our next door neighbor has a lot of money. We go over for dinner and his son can't stop talking about it. His son, 17, goes to school with my younger sister. So my mother and her are over for dinner a lot. My mother didn't work while they were married, 15 years, so she's not well off financially. My neighbor's son, we'll call him Jack, has taken a very sexual interest in my sister, taking any chance to flex his money and catcall her. So one night, my mother, father, sister, and I were at dinner with my neighbor. Not 15 minutes after we arrive, he begins harassing my sister, telling her how hard he wanted to bone her, and making an excessive amount of remarks on her breasts and ass. My mother apparently thought that if Jack and my sister did it, they might get married and my mom would get some of his money. So after dinner, he invited my sister to go upstairs with him. She was reluctant, but he practically forced her up the stairs. I followed them because I wasn't about to allow a rich butthole to violate my sister. So I'm sitting outside his room when I hear a commotion and some yelling. I stand up and my sister runs out of his room with her dress torn across her chest and some down the front, leaving her breasts exposed. She hides behind me, calling for my mother and father. I'm at this point ready to actually beat the snob to death. He comes out saying, "What's wrong, girl? I'm just having a little fun." To which I replied, "Fun's over," and grab him. My parents and Jack's father are upstairs before I can do anything. My father's angry and puts his jacket on my sister, so she has some cover. He says, "What the hell is going on here? Did you do this to my little girl?" His father steps in and tells us it's time to leave. So we head out, trying not to make any illegal mistakes. Once we were out, my mother grabs my little sister and says,
"What the hell is wrong with you? You could have had it all, but you gave it away, you moron. I think you need to stay at your father's for a little while."
And she storms off to her car and drives off. That was 2 years ago. My little sister is about to graduate high school and has forgotten about my mother pretty much altogether. I still see Jack at some video game tournaments on my college campus. He avoids me and I avoid him. Sometimes we play in bracket and he sucks. Every time, I take his money. I immediately give it to my sister when I get home. Sort of like a retribution fund from him. He's given her over $2,500 in these past 2 years. Our fathers are still friends and hang out a good amount. Okay, first of all, she's trying to pimp her daughter out. Second of all, why wasn't he allowed to beat the crap out of that kid? Third, why is the dad still friends with the Jack's dad? Okay, did the dad say sorry on his behalf? Was there some sort of burying of the hatchet? What kind of dad would still be friends with someone like that? Okay, I get that the dad didn't do that, but his kid... I don't know what's going on here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.